Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, to another video. Today we're at the range. This video is kind of like the basics of the tools you can use to approach the game better, and then maybe at least know what you're doing when you're at the range. So we're going to break the video down into 3 parts. Grip, setup, which is basically like your stance, how you're going to address the ball. And then the third part is the swing itself. So you need to have like a good idea of what a golf swing is. So the swing part is broken down into the swing plane and sequencing, which is basically the pattern in which your body needs to work through to hit the golf ball. So let's start with the first one, grip. So most golf clubs are gripped with the logo in the middle. You want the face of the club to point where you want the ball to go. So you want to have the club face basically square and to grip the club from there. I'm speaking as a right-handed player, so obviously you can swap it around if you're left-handed. Your fingers of your left hand on the top, and your right hand's going to go on the bottom. And you're going to wrap your hand around it so that the squishy part of your thumb kind of wraps all the way around the club. You always want to line your club up first and then grip. So fingers behind and wrap around. If you don't know how far to wrap around, you basically want this crease of this line to go to your right shoulder, or you want to at least see like a couple of knuckles. It's going to be more like that. And then your right hand, your fingers are also going to go behind the club, and the squishy part of your right thumb is going to go over your left thumbnail. It might feel awkward in the beginning because it does for everyone starting to play golf, but essentially you want to just be able to feel control of the weight of the club. So this is what it would look like. So now I'm going to grip the club right here in front of you guys. So we're going to line up, our fingers behind, our thumb over, right hand, fingers behind, thumb over. Yeah. Try to feel where you have the most control over the weight of the club in terms of transferring it back and forth. Think of it like someone who's wielding a sword. When they first pick up that sword, maybe they don't handle it like perfectly, but eventually they'll know exactly how to transfer the weight like through a strike. So that's kind of what you're going to need to do through practice. So the first step is grip, which we covered. Next would be the stance. Generally, there's a different swing and a different stance technically for every club in the bag, because as the clubs get longer in terms of distance, they also get longer in terms of length. So technically you're standing farther and farther from the ball each time. I would recommend just picking one club for now. I am recommending a pitching wedge, which is what I'm using, which is like a very high loft, very short, easy to hit club. And if it's your first time at the range, you're just going to grab a pitching wedge and just try hit the one club. Just try nail down the one swing. Your stance is going to be, your feet are going to be the width of your shoulders. The inside of your feet is going to be the width of your shoulders. You're kind of going to stand a little bit with your knees bent, enough to kind of give you a bounce, but you're not on your haunches really, because you have to be comfortable transferring weight from side to side. In terms of distance from the ball, you kind of want your arms to drop naturally straight down, and that's how you're going to hold your club. You want your back to be straight. I kind of do that a bit wrong. Sometimes I get my back a bit hunched, but you want your back to be straight, so your bum a little bit out, and you should feel comfortable. Like, you shouldn't feel like you're reaching too far from the ball. You shouldn't feel like you have to really go get the ball, and you shouldn't feel like there's no space to get your hands through the ball. Generally, if you drop the club just down, it should just sit onto your lead leg like that. For now, you want the ball to be basically in the middle of your stance. And yeah, for now we're just trying to make contact with the ball, something we can repeat at the range every time we go maybe. For now, we just want consistency. With consistency, you can build confidence in being able to hit the ball. Once you're able to hit the ball, then your brain starts making these calculations into, oh, what am I doing wrong? Like I felt the last swing was pretty good, and this one was a bit different. What was different there? And you'd find that there's so many nuances in the golf swing. So I think we got the grip, we got the grip. The stance. Now we got to think about the swing. And the way I like to explain the swing is kind of like a massive pizza. And that pizza obviously can't be like folded. It's like one plane, right? This pizza is like a slice through the air. And that club is going to swing on that plane. There's many different factors that can change there. Like you can have a outside to in kind of pizza. You could have an inside to out kind of pizza. And your follow through can kind of not even be complete, you know? Like you really got to complete the circumference of that pizza. And that forces you to follow through. It's just one way to think about it. Another way to think about it is kind of like a tennis shot. Rather than taking a backswing and trying to smack the ball, it would force you to deliver the weight of the club in the wrong time. Try to think of it more like a tennis shot where your right hand is striking through the ball. And that would delay your power deployment. So a lot of beginners, they come up here and then they start squeezing. But then you're just trying to smack the ball, but you're going to lose a lot of control. And you're probably going to come down on the wrong swing plane. Come down with more of like a swipe at the ball and follow through, and then you'd find your power is deployed a lot later. You can tell that from like golfers follow throughs. Like when people swing through and then they always floppy up here, it's because they started squeezing the power from here, and then they were like smack the ball, all the power, they like fully flex down here, and then from here it just gets floppy. I used to have a full-on outside to in kind of swing, not really knowing that anything else was possible until I thought about it, and I was like, damn, I have to shift this whole plane more to kind of there. So your swing plane is going to affect your shot shape a lot, because it's ultimately the nature of which the club is coming into contact with the ball. So usually they say you need to try and keep a straight line as you take your club back. But do you take your club back as a straight line and end up outside here? Or do you take your club back in a straight line and put it inside here? Somewhere in between those two, there's the plane where you would hit the ball perfectly straight, provided your club face is square at impact. By that I mean when you're coming down at impact, your club face is facing where you want it to. A lot of beginners make the mistake of really opening it up on the backswing. So in order to make sure you do keep your club face square, you just take your club up about a quarter of your backswing and just make sure that it's lined, the angle of the face lines up with kind of the angle of your back. And from there, it kind of gives you the feel of where your wrists need to be to keep it closed instead of open. Then you kind of just maintain that angle and learn, maybe by taking a few practice swings, how to keep the club face square. At impact. So the sequencing, it's almost like there's a screenplay and you can't do the last part at the beginning. Not all of these movements happen at the same time. Your hands move first, your shoulders will follow, and then your hips would follow last, and it would do the reverse on the downswing. Your hips would start, your shoulders would follow, and then your arms would come through, and last would be your head. Your head always has to be looking down at the ball at impact. When you're transferring your weight during a swing, it's generally, you want to stand like 50-50, your weight on each foot.
Kind of 50-50, I think.
And as you take your backswing, you never want to leave this line. Like you should never leave that line. You should always try to keep in contact with an imaginary line here, but you are shifting a little bit of your weight further onto your back foot. It's almost like loading a punch. Like if you're going to punch someone, you would load it here and then kind of twist it like that. It's similar to a golf swing. So you're basically loading onto your right leg. So you're creating the potential for the release. So you're going to shift it back onto your back foot, maybe like 60-40. And then you're going to have to be comfortable getting the weight back onto this foot, because a lot of beginners, they stay on the back and it just leads to trying to hit up on the ball, basically like trying to scoop the ball, but the club has enough loft. Like the club is going to do what it does, and the pros, they compress the ball so they hit like down on the ball. That's how they get that's how they get like a much more desirable shot flight. 60-40, and then really stand on the left foot and hit through. And remember, pizza slice got to be complete. Also, the other thing that I was going to say that helps with thinking about how to hit a ball is, someone described it as like skipping stones. If you were to try to skip a stone, you wouldn't throw the stone like just throw it. You would have to almost throw up on it, and that forces you to get very shallow with your downswing, the start of your downswing, and to almost throw up on it. It's a similar thought with the golf shot. It's not really like you're swinging a club. It's more like a javelin. Well, I think if you're starting golf, you should try to just hit the ball straight, just maybe with like a pitching wedge with just a little bit of power. Because if you can't do that, then why would you attempt doing a full swing where any error that you make is going to be exaggerated? So we would just come to the range and maybe take a pitching wedge, set up and hit like a 40%. Even that's a bit too much, maybe a 20%. Yeah, but hope this helped. Thanks for watching, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, we have more content coming soon, so